Hey, 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 beautiful. What's going on? It's your girl, Linda S. Hustle, the Bodacious Lifestyle Coach for Black women over 50. And boy, oh boy, I had an interesting conversation with a coaching client the other day. And she shared with me that even though we were coaching, even though she was feeling better about herself, she still found herself feeling like she was in the deep throes of a midlife crisis. And what could she do? I was like, girl, first of all, let's turn your midlife crisis into midlife courage. Now, there are some people who say there's no such thing as midlife crisis. I totally disagree with that. I have been in a midlife crisis myself. Actually, it was my midlife crisis that actually led me to becoming a life coach because at the time I was a salon owner, I was a stylist, I had been doing hair for about 25 years when I realized, I started thinking, what's next? I loved hair, I loved my clients, but I had this overwhelming feeling that there had to be something next, right? Again, loved hair, loved my clients, but I was just had this sense of uh, longing for, what was my purpose? Why was I born? Why was I here? All of that. And I went on this journey to find my significance, really. And it started happening around my 50th birthday. That's when all of this really started happening. So, midlife crisis, I think, is real. I don't think you should be ashamed if you're in the throes of a midlife crisis. Let me know if you think you're in a midlife crisis, if you've ever experienced a midlife crisis, and how were you able to come out of it, assuming you were able to come out of it. So, how to turn your midlife crisis into midlife courage? Well, the first thing you got to do when you are in the throes of a midlife crisis is embrace your age. A lot of issues and challenges that are surrounding midlife crisis is the fact that you're aging and you're not aging with excellence, you're not aging boldly, you're aging bitterly. You're aging bitterly. You're looking at age as a liability instead of an asset. You're looking at age as something that is to something that hey, you're looking at something like it's a liability. And we're all gonna get old. We're all gonna age. We're all gonna move up the ladder of life. We're all going to do that. And so here's the thing. As long as you look at age as a liability instead of an asset, you are not going to age well. You're not going to age with excellence. You're looking at age as if it's a pre-existing condition, as if it's a disease or a curse or something to flee from, something to run away from, something to hate, something to not embrace. And I'm saying I want you to wrap your arms around age and embrace it with all that you know. Because if you are a Black woman over 50, it's only up from here. It's not down from here. Who said that aging had to be this sad, miserable place and space that you find yourself in? That is absolutely and totally not true. So, the first thing you got to do is you got to accept your age, embrace your age, right? I want you to think about when you think about aging, I want you to think about, some of the great experiences that you've had along the way. It's not like you just woke up one day and you were a certain age and everything else that happened before then is insignificant. Aging allows you to have different experiences. If you have survived, if you are 50 and above, I am sure, even if you've had some trials, some tragedies, some tribulations, you name it, it hasn't all been bad. I want you to think about the times when you really experienced some fun and some joy and some happiness in your life. And I want you to think about your life today. And no matter what has happened to you, if you are still alive, you can thrive. As long as you are here, you can persevere. I don't care what has happened to you. And while this may sound harsh, you don't get a pass simply because something happened to you. Because something in some way, shape, or form has happened to us all. Whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're middle class, We all have gone through something. You don't get a pass simply because you've gone through something. So the first thing that you need to do if you are trying to turn your midlife crisis into midlife courage is you've got to be courageous enough to just embrace your age. Just, it is what it is. No more lying about it. No more acting as if it's the end of the world. I am 59. I will be 60 June 5th. I will be 60 in less than 2 weeks. And I am excited about walking into the next stage of my life because I feel good. I look good. I'm healthy for the most part. You know, the little stuff that I need to fix, I can fix. And I want to be a representation of what aging with excellence looks like. Do you want to be a representation of what aging with excellence looks like? Listen, Martha Stewart is on the cover of Sports Illustrated. That goes to show you that the tide is shifting when it comes to this thing called aging. That's exactly what it's letting you know, is that the tide is shifting when it comes to aging. So you can duck your head in the sand. You can say, oh, woe is me. You can feel some sort of way, some kind of way when young women come by. You can do that. That is a choice. Or you can simply say, why? You know what? I'm going to be the best 50-plus-year-old I can be. I'm going to be an example that just because we are women of a certain age, that we are not disposable, that you're not going to sweep us under the rug, that we have value, we are valid, we are vibrant, we are vivacious. And if you concentrate on that part of aging, right, it's not going to be that hard to turn your midlife crisis into midlife courage. So the first thing is you need to embrace your age. The second thing I want you to do is acknowledge all of the good parts about aging. Acknowledge all of the good parts about aging. Number one, you got more sense, hopefully, than you had 20 or 30 years ago. One good thing about aging is you've been through the fire and you've come out on the other side. So there is wisdom there. There is absolute wisdom there. And with that wisdom, you are more in control of your life. You can make sounder decisions. And that's just something that comes with aging. That just comes with living this thing called life. And so if you are on the other side of 50, that means you can create the life that you desire and deserve. Remember a few years ago, back in the day, when you thought that, you had to be under your mother's and your father's thumb, and you just wanted to have that opportunity where you could be free to just do you? Well, you're still free to do you. And now that you've got wisdom on your side, you understand how important it really is to do you, because we should be at the reinventing and regret proofing our life stage. If you are a Black woman over 50, that's where you should be in your life. You don't have time to have a midlife crisis because you got stuff you need to do. You've got dreams and goals and wishes and plans that you set aside. And for some of you, you had to put on the back burner because of the kids. You had to get the kids through school, get the kids through college, housing stuff had to happen. I get it. But it's you time now. You owe you the opportunity to create the life that you desire and deserve. So when I talk about how to turn your midlife crisis into midlife courage, the first thing I said is you have to accept your age. No more lying about how old you are. None of this, well, I look 10 years younger, so I'm going to say it. No. When we do that, we buy into this theory that there's something the matter with women of a certain age, that we have to lie about our age. Listen, when you feel good about yourself, we've got some awesome sisters out here that are crushing it, looking good, feeling good, and they'll be quick to tell you, oh, I'm 81. Oh, look at Angela Bassett. She's 64, I think. She looks fantastic. She looks fantastic. So here's the thing. Part of this whole midlife crisis thing too is we aren't feeling as good about ourselves as we would like to. Let's keep it real, right? So for some of us, you're in a crisis because maybe you've put on extra weight that you don't like. Maybe you're reminiscing about when you were size 4, 30, 40 years ago. And here's the thing, I'm not saying that you can't go back to your high school weight, but you got to be willing to do the sacrifices. And if you're not willing to do that, then let that go. You're 50 something years old now. I mean, again, if you want to do the hard work and eat, vegetables and drink almond milk and all of that good stuff, go for it. But don't let that hold you back. So again, let's recap. The first thing you got to do to turn your midlife crisis into midlife courage is embrace your age. Just wrap your arms around however old you are and embrace it. Some people didn't make it to be this age. You did. You're lucky that you are still here and that you were able to be the age that you are. The second thing that I want you to do is acknowledge the good in your life. Even at your age, whatever, 75, 80, 55, 60, 69, however old you are, acknowledge the good. There's still some incredible goodness in your life right now while you're concentrating on lost youth or maybe a wrinkle or two or gray hair. Look at where you are. You survived your childhood. You survived whatever it is that you had to overcome. And we're not going to allow midlife crisis to rob us of our joy. So the first thing you got to do is embrace your age. The second thing is acknowledge what's good in your life. Right now, what is good in your life? Acknowledge that. And then the third thing is get into action, pursuing those things that give you ultimate joy. Because when you are pursuing things that give you ultimate joy, you don't have time to be miserable. You don't have time to be worrying about lost youth. You don't have time to be stuck in a midlife crisis because you are busy doing you. You're busy doing you. And that's how you turn midlife crisis into midlife courage. The first thing is you got to embrace your age. Just wrap your arms all around your age. Tell it, oh, I'm so happy to see you. I love you. Where have you been? Talk to yourself, right? Let yourself know that even though you may be older, you're bolder, not bitter. You're getting older and bolder, not older and bitter. That is not where you want to be. So again, you have control over your life. You have control over how you age. You have control over the whole aging process. You're either going to age out loud and proud or age bitterly. You're either going to age with excellence or age in sadness. You're either going to age with dignity or age in despair. It is your choice. Choose wisely. Choose wisely because you got this. And age should not make you feel bad. And most people who feel bad as they get older is because they don't feel good about themselves. Because there's nothing like a woman who knows she's got it going on. And when you say to her, or she tells you how old she is, and you're like, oh my gosh, you don't look that old. That is the utmost compliment. That lets that woman know that she is living her best life right now. That she isn't letting the status quo and societal norms keep her from living her best life. And that's what I want you to do as well. Don't let age rob you of your dreams, your desires, or your destiny. Don't let age do that. And if you're struggling, if you're like, I hear you, Linda, but I don't know, I just can't seem to break out of this rut, let's have a conversation. You can go to speaktolinda.com and get on my calendar for your 30-minute complimentary Ignite Your Life session where you and I are going to do a deep dive into what's got you stuck. How is it that this is where you are, this is where you want to be, and you can't seem to close the gap? You need some clarity. Then you need to strategize your actions. Sometimes you get clear, but then you don't know what to do with the clarity. It's like, okay, so what's step 1? What's step 2? What's step 3? So you got to get clarity in order to turn your midlife crisis and the midlife crisis, you got to embrace your age. There's no other way around it. And midlife crisis really comes from buying into this programming that aging is a pre-existing condition. That's where midlife crisis really comes from, because you're in crisis thinking that you no longer have value, that you're no longer valuable, vivacious, or vibrant. And you get to choose that, not society. You get to choose that. And so, with that, I thank you so much for being here. I want you to take these tips, tools, and techniques and really use them. I want you to embrace your age. I want you to get in the mirror and say, I am, however old you are. I want you to get in the mirror and say, I am 59. I am 65. I am 69. I am 70. I am 80. I am 90. And I am so glad I woke up today. I want you to start your gratitude practice. That's part of how you turn your midlife crisis into midlife courage as well. Be grateful to be however old you are. Be grateful to be alive. Be grateful to have an opportunity to try whatever that is that you want to do again and again and again, that you can keep slapping the start over button as many times as you need. That's how you turn your midlife crisis into midlife courage. You start doing something with your life. Most people who are in the throes of midlife crisis aren't doing anything. They're not doing anything. Part of how do you turn your midlife crisis into midlife courage is you got to get in motion. You got to get in action. You got to think about what makes your heart soar. What's your heart's desire, and do more of that instead of being concerned about what aging has done to you, or, oh my God, is that another gray hair, or is that hair on my upper lip? And sometimes you start getting the chin stuff too. I make a game of it. I've got tweezers in my where the ashtray is, and when I'm at the stoplight, I will pull those bad boys out and just start plucking my hairs. I don't care who's in the car next to me. That's just what I do. So in order to turn your midlife crisis into midlife courage, I'm going to recap. You got to embrace your age. You got to acknowledge what's good in your life right now. And you got to take the action steps that that comes with making your aging be an asset instead of a liability. I want you to think about all the good stuff that has happened in the years up to now, instead of concerning yourself with the stuff that you can't control. You can control how you age. You can age with dignity. You can age boldly. You can age out loud and proud. You can age with excellence, or you can age with despair. It's your choice. Thanks for tuning in, and please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I will talk to you later. Peace.